The world held its breath as the Avengers assembled. But a new threat descended, not from the stars, but from the sun. He was an alien god, and he was not here to save them. This was Superman, and he would break them all before the first minute ended. His shadow fell over Manhattan, a silent, crimson-caped specter. Iron Man's repulsors whined to life, a futile challenge. Superman's eyes glowed with the fire of a dying star. He was power incarnate, and their defiance was an insult. He would teach them respect through utter defeat. Captain America's shield flew, a perfect, unerring throw. It met Superman's outstretched palm with a sound that shattered nearby windows. He didn't flinch. He simply held the vibranium disc, examining it with cold, alien curiosity. Then, his fingers pressed, and the unbreakable shield screamed in protest, buckling like tin. Thor arrived with a thunderclap, Mjolnir crackling with cosmic energy. "Face me, fiend," he roared, hurling the hammer with godly force. Superman caught it. The impact created a shockwave that leveled a city block. He held the enchanted weapon, unmoved. "A worthy toy," he stated, voice devoid of warmth. He tossed Mjolnir aside as if it were junk. Before Thor could react, Superman was before him. A single, precise punch to the divine chest plate shattered it. The god of thunder gasped, crashing through 3 skyscrapers. Asgardian blood painted the rubble. The strongest Avenger had fallen in a second. The Hulk's roar of challenge was deafening. He leapt, a massive green fist aimed to crush. Superman didn't dodge. The punch landed with a sound like a mountain breaking. Superman's head barely moved. He looked bored. "Is that all?" he asked the stunned monster. Enraged, the Hulk unleashed a relentless barrage. Each blow could level a tank. Superman weathered the storm, his feet not shifting an inch. Then, he moved. A flick of his wrist broke the Hulk's arm. A gut punch forced a whimper from the beast. He grabbed the Hulk by the throat, his grip unbreakable, and began to squeeze the fight from him. Iron Man unleashed his entire arsenal. Missiles, lasers, and unibeams converged on the Kryptonian. The explosion was blinding. Superman emerged from the fire unscathed, his suit unmarked. He looked at Stark, and his heat vision flashed. It sliced through the armor's legs, shearing them clean off. Tony fell from the sky, a crippled machine. Black Widow and Hawkeye provided covering fire, their efforts hopelessly brave. Superman's super breath created an Arctic gale, freezing Hawkeye solid in a block of ice. He then vibrated his hand, phasing it through Widow's cover. A gentle tap to her forehead rendered her unconscious. The humans were mere gnats. Scarlet Witch's chaos magic erupted, a storm of crimson reality. "You will not harm him," she screamed, her power warping the very air. For a moment, Superman seemed to slow, a flicker of strain on his face. But his will was a fortress. He focused, his eyes glowing brighter, pushing back against her hex. He broke through her telekinetic hold with a surge of raw power. Interesting, he mused, now hovering before her. Her red energy shields flared, but his hand passed through them. He gripped her wrist, and with a precise application of pressure, snapped the bone. Her scream was cut short as he rendered her inert. Doctor Strange opened portals, weaving spells of containment. Bands of crimson light, the crimson bands of Cyttorak, snaked around Superman. They held him for a single, hopeful second. Then, he flexed. The mystical bands shattered into ethereal dust. He was a force beyond their mystic arts. Strange summoned mirror dimensions, but Superman simply punched through the shifting reality. The sorcerer's intricate spells were undone by sheer, unadulterated force. A swift, precise blow to Strange's temple dropped the master of the mystic arts. Magic, like technology, was useless. Vision phased through a building, his solar jewel glowing. He prepared to discharge a massive energy blast. Superman was suddenly there, his hand around the synthoid's head. A pale imitation of a sun, he stated coldly. His heat vision flared, not at vision, but at the Mind Stone itself. The yellow gem, a source of infinite power, resisted for a nanosecond. Then, under the focused beam of the living solar reactor, it cracked. A wave of concussive energy exploded outwards, vaporizing vision instantly. The Avengers' ultimate weapon was erased from existence. Superman landed amidst the smoldering ruins of the battlefield. The mightiest heroes lay broken around him. He had not even broken a sweat. His expression remained one of detached, absolute superiority. This was not a battle, it was a statement. He looked down at Captain America, who was struggling to rise. "You fight for a world that will never be worthy," Superman stated, his voice echoing with finality. He raised his hand, not to strike, but in a gesture of dominance. The fight was over. He had won. One by one, he collected the fallen. He dragged Thor by his cape, and carried the frozen Hulk. He stacked them in a pile, a monument to his victory. This was his trophy case, a display of his absolute power over Earth's defenders. He then turned his gaze to the skies. Satellites adjusted, broadcasting his image across the globe. "Your protectors are gone," he announced, his voice reaching every screen. "Your world is now under new management. Resistance, as you have seen, is utterly futile." He began issuing decrees, his demands absolute. All weapons were to be dismantled. All governments would answer to him. He would enforce a lasting peace, his way. There was no discussion, no negotiation. He was the law, the judge, and the executioner. In the aftermath, a cold silence fell over the planet. The hope the Avengers represented was extinguished, replaced by a terrifying, absolute order. Superman hovered above the world, a silent, watchful god. His reign had begun in less than an hour. The few surviving heroes were driven underground, shattered and demoralized. They had faced gods and monsters, but never a power so absolute. They licked their wounds, their spirit broken. How do you fight a man who cannot be hurt? Stark, from his crippled suit, could only whisper a desperate, haunting question into the static. Who? Who can stop him? The answer was a void of silence. There was no one left. Superman's dominance was total, his victory absolute and forever.